Mr. Speaker, that said, I have also been informed that this is an activity that is aimed at bringing people to that enclave. So, Mr. Speaker, members are equally invited. Mr. Speaker, that said, I would want to thank our colleague, the Member of Parliament from Prioso, for this initiative of making this important statement. Last year, the Majority Leader and my good self graced the occasion, the KOU Business Forum. It brought a number of businessmen into that enclave to discuss business potential. We often talk about creating jobs, and all we talk about is the formal sector and government jobs. I think if we help the private sector, they will be able to create the opportunities for our graduates and our skilled labor to get work to do. Mr. Speaker, I thank you so much for the treasure space, and I will say, as always, God bless you.
Yes, Majority.
Speaker, I rose in pursuance of Order 122 to intervene at the time that the Minority Leader was trying to settle whether or not he would get a chance to speak. Speaker, these days, MPs, we face danger. He said something about the Honorable Apia Boatin. He said the member sparingly speaks on the floor. That comment can just be cut, sent to his constituency, and it will cause political harm. So I was trying to draw attention to get him to withdraw that, so that the audiovisuals too can take care of that portion of the statement. Because, Speaker, a lot of these things,
Speaker, with respect, I think the Chief Whip is very right. You know, sometimes it's not about the intention, but how it is put. So, Mr. Speaker, that said, I think he's fair. I've taken a cue.
So the statement is accordingly withdrawn.
One attributed,
yes,
in that context, should be off our record.
So it should be expunged as if it doesn't exist. That brings us to the end of that statement. Then we have another statement on tuberculosis by Honorable Dr. Market Nawani. You have the floor.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I rise on this day, pursuant to the standing orders of the Honorable House, to make a statement in commemoration of World Tuberculosis Day 2026, which is observed every year on 24th of March, to raise awareness about the ancient disease, tuberculosis, and to mobilize stronger political commitment towards ending the devastating disease. Right, Honorable Speaker, the 2023 UN high-level meeting on TB adopted a political declaration aiming to end the epidemic by 2030, promising to treat 45 million people between 2023 to 2027 and accelerate development of new tools. Key commitments in this declaration include targeted treatment, provide treatment to 45 million people, including 4.5 million children, and 1.5 million with drug-resistant TB. Preventive care, deliver preventive treatment to 30 million people. Funding goals, increase annual global funding for TB research and development to $5 billion. Health access, implement 90% coverage of TB services and ensure access to affordable diagnostics. Rights-based approach, tackle stigma, discrimination, and legal barriers, ensure inclusive, community-led, and people-centered care. Ghana's contribution to the fulfillment of these global commitments has been of a mixed picture. While achieving and sustaining at least 90% treatment success rates for persons diagnosed with TB year to year, low case detection, and insufficient funding to improve access to TB services have slowed the pace towards the end of the epidemic. As part of our efforts as stakeholders, we join the global community to commemorate this important day through advocacy on the floor of Parliament. Right, Honorable Speaker, the theme for World Tuberculosis Day 2026 is Yes, We Can End TB, led by countries, powered by people. This theme brings to the fore the pivotal role of national leadership and community participation in accelerating progress towards ending TB by 2030. It is instructive to note that ending TB is achievable if Ghana strengthens the health system, increase domestic investments, and ensure that life-saving prevention, diagnosis, and treatment services reach all those in need. Right, Honorable Speaker, despite being preventable and curable, TB continues to be one of the world's deadliest diseases. In fact, only COVID-19 passed TB in the death toll in 2020 and 2021. Every year, more than 10 million people fall ill with TB, and more than 1 million deaths are recorded. Right, Honorable Speaker, in Ghana, a lot of efforts have been made to find the people with TB and treat them. And yet, the Ministry of Health, the Ghana Health Service, and partners identified only 20,600 people with TB, less than half of the 44,000 annual estimate of people with TB. To make it simpler, there are more people with TB in Ghana than our current response system can find each year. This means we are sitting on a time bomb because the undiagnosed and untreated persons would continue to spread the disease to those who are susceptible. All of us are at risk. Right, Honorable Speaker? Yes, we can end TB, led by countries, empowered by people, should be a wake-up call to us as parliamentarians. The Parliamentary Select Committee on Health acknowledges the government of Ghana's commitment to strengthen the national TB response through increased domestic financing, and stronger health system interventions. But a sustainable effort is needed through a massive domestic resource mobilization drive and national ownership of the TB program, instead of relying on donor funding, which is diminishing tremendously. In this regard, the committee welcomes the government's commitment to strengthen healthcare delivery through the free primary healthcare initiative, designed to expand access to quality healthcare services across the country. A deliberate, well-thought-through plan to include provision of diagnostic equipment for TB, such as digital AL, enabled X-rays in the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, Mahama Cares, is needed. These new technologies have the capability to integrate diagnostic beyond TB to include the non-communicable disease. The possibility to apply technology to provide integrated, holistic care is a solid strategy we can adopt in these times of scarce resources in the health sector. By this means, the government of His Excellency, John Dramani Mahama, is positioned to make this year's theme for World TB more meaningful to the people of Ghana. On behalf of the Parliamentary Select Committee of Health, I call on all honorable members of this House, government institutions, development partners, civil society organizations, and the Ghanaian public to support the collective effort to end TB in our country. Together, yes, we can end TB, led by our country, Ghana, and powered by Ghanaians. Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much.
Honourable members, that is the statement on tuberculosis. It's not time for comment. Subject to the same restriction by 1 comment. I'll give the floor to the doctor facing me.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the statement ably made by my committee chair on World Tuberculosis Day, which was 24th of this month. I think it is not the day, but it's recommended that we sound the alarm bells to Ghanaians about the fight the government and the world is taking to eliminate tuberculosis by 2030. If you look at the history of tuberculosis, it was first discovered in the 1900s. By 1970, the European countries had resolved to reduce tuberculosis to about 5%, even before the advent of treatment of tuberculosis. It means that it is not dependent on a drug that tuberculosis can be eradicated, but it depends on some few factors. The most important of them all is sanitation, personal hygiene. We can spend so much money buying equipment, diagnosing people of tuberculosis, and giving them treatment to take for 6 months, direct observational treatment. We may be fighting a battle that we can never resolve. My recommendation is that we advise the public and educate them on how to prevent themselves from contracting tuberculosis. Because if you look at our environment, most people with tuberculosis are the very vulnerable, poor nutrition, people with chronic ailments like HIV, people who are working in sanitary departments, people who live in very deplorable communities. So if we don't uplift these people in these communities, those working with sanitation companies, provide them with the needed PPEs, they will continue circulating the disease every day and every night. Sometimes you watch people working with sanitation companies, they are sitting on the garbage without nose mask, without anything. And from there, they even get home, lie in the rooms with their wives and children without proper ventilation, which is the main cause of the transmission of the bacteria. So I think that public education, spearheaded by the Ghana Health Service and the ministry, about how to prevent tuberculosis would save us a lot. Yes, the government has bought a lot of equipment, gene expect machines, and put them in vantage areas in the country for people to test for tuberculosis. But what do we do testing for tuberculosis every day if we are not educating them on how to contract it? So let's emphasize on primary health care, public education, and in that way, we can minimize the transmission of tuberculosis. Yes, there are groups of people who, due to their jobs, they contract tuberculosis. Those working at the mining sectors, those working in caves. But if we use the correct PPEs, because the British, the Europeans, they do all these jobs, but they don't contract the disease like we are contracting. It means something is going wrong. So let's adhere to proper hygiene, proper sanitation in our communities, proper ventilation in our rooms and offices, and then we let people wear nose masks if you think you have a cold. And if you think you are going into an area whereby ventilation in that area is not good, like if you have a cold and you are a member of Parliament, please, you recuse yourself and don't come with it and spread it. That is the way tuberculosis is spread. Or you wear a nose mask to ensure that you don't give out the bacteria or the viruses in case you have it to other people. So that is the word of advice I have for Ghanaians and how I can contribute to the statement ably made. As for the treatment, you go to hospital, they will diagnose you and they'll give you a treatment that you must follow punctually. You shouldn't miss a single step. You take the drug every day, non-stop for 6 months. And please, it's free. And also, it is not bigger than a ball of banku you swallow, because you can put it in a spoon and take it. So please, those with tuberculosis who are taking drugs, ensure that you take the drugs. And if the assemblies or the hospitals realize that there are people who have tuberculosis, screen their community, screen their families to get those.
Yes, Dr. Chiasama.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and let me appreciate the maker of the statement regarding tuberculosis incidents. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, Ghana is among the countries that have high incidence of TB infection. And one thing that one wants to repeat is the fact that if one person in this chamber has an active TB infection, the likelihood that majority of us could contract it is very high. There are a lot of people around that have what we call the latent TB infection, and that one is not easily spread. But when your immune system tends to go down, especially in case of other infections like HIV, or when people do smoke, diabetes and other things, it tends to make your TB infection active. So the moment you sneeze, TB infection transfers through the air. So the moment one coughs around here or sneezes, or sometimes even when you talk, it tends to transmit it to your other colleagues. So it's advisable that many a times when we go to do the test, we realize that most Ghanaians tend to turn positive when we did the skin testing. So in advanced countries, they normally recommend, and you get Ghanaians having to go for the chest X-ray to be able to determine whether they have an active TB infection or not. So I would advise, at least starting from this chamber, as many as possible should be checking our status of TB infection. We also know the BCG vaccine could reduce the infection rate by 50%, especially from childhood. So as many that can get the vaccine, Mr. Speaker, is advisable. Mr. Speaker, one unfortunate thing that we see in Ghana, and my physician colleagues, I'm a pharmacist, so I will deal with the drug aspect, is that leads to a lot of cardiac problems, what we call the pericardial effusion. It's one of the difficult cardiac diseases to treat. Normally, one has to undergo a surgery to be able to recover. And it's not easy, Mr. Speaker, because if you have encountered people that have gone through this kind of situation, it's so miserable, and some even end up losing their life. This is the type of, this pericardial infection in Ghana mostly, they attribute it to TB infection. And sometimes, even when one goes through the 6 months treatment, which is a combo of antibiotics, sometimes they use rifampicin and isoniazid, and you have to take it for 6 months. Mr. Speaker, it's uncomfortable. Sometimes the side effects of the drug alone is not easy. So we will advise and we will encourage those that are on the treatment to finish the treatment, but the best is to prevent yourself from getting infected. So, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to once again appreciate the maker of the statement, but there's a silent killer. I remember when we were young, normally when we were in the village, in the small towns, and you go pick mangoes and they'll say, oh, people have coughed on the mangoes, so please don't take it. So it boils down and comes back to hygiene. So it's very important that we also make sure that we are conscious about our hygienic environment. And most importantly, checking the status of one person or the other as far as TB infection is concerned. So, Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't wish anybody to get TB infection or active TB infection. But if you do get it, please adhere to your medical treatment and the medication you are giving so that you can get cured. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, minority leadership. Majority leadership.
Speaker, may I yield to Dr. Titus Bayo?
Honorable Professor Titus Bayo, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And let me thank leadership for giving me the opportunity. I also want to thank the leader of the Health Committee,
Which of the rules have been breached?
Mr. Speaker, we are invoking your inherent powers and jurisdiction. That the minority leadership time, if we can add it to Professor Bayo, so that he can be able to have enough time to be able to speak.
Apparently, I do not have that inherent jurisdiction. So, Professor Bayo, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me thank leadership of both sides for giving me the opportunity, and thank the leader of the Health Committee, my committee chairman, for making this statement on such an important occasion. Mr. Speaker, tuberculosis, as we commonly call TB, is an infectious disease spread by the mycobacterium And it is unfortunate that in Ghana today, we still have about 129 to 143 cases per 100,000 of our population. This disease is common in persons living with HIV/AIDS and in minors. And with the advent of galamsey, we need to know that the mining population now is ill-defined, which means that the number of persons who may be living with this condition is high. Unfortunately, data suggests that about 9,700 persons die annually of this disease in Ghana, which means it's still a significant concern to us. What are the symptoms of tuberculosis? As earlier suggested by colleagues, cough, productive cough, especially cough that the sputum is associated with blood, is one of the signs of tuberculosis. And if you are coughing persistently, taking different cough mixtures and it's not stopping, you seek health care. Mr. Speaker, another one is that back pain, spine pain, can be coming from tuberculosis. We have what we call the POTS disease, that is TB of the spine. If not diagnosed and managed, can lead to paralysis. And so it can cause significant morbidity, such as all of these. But how do we prevent it? I think earlier speakers have mentioned some of the preventive mechanisms. For instance, ensuring that you have good aeration around you, there is not enough congestion wherever you are. But all persons born in Ghana would have received what we call the BCG at birth. And I will encourage members here, just palpate your left shoulder. If you cannot feel that little scar there, either you have not been vaccinated, or if you were vaccinated, perhaps you didn't react to produce the scar, but it is the earliest sign that you have received your vaccination. On the right, your right shoulder, if you palpate there, you will notice around this part of your shoulder that you got this vaccination as a child. It is to prevent TB meningitis that can be very severe and can kill. These measures have been put in place to decrease the burden of tuberculosis in the country. Despite all of this, we still have a few people, and strong people sometimes, getting tuberculosis. Before tuberculosis will proceed to become an active disease, your immunity must be compromised. And a lot of times, that is why the co-infection with HIV often lead to very bad outcomes of the disease, because HIV would have weakened the immune system, and then tuberculosis will come and make it worse. So I would join my colleagues to encourage people who have been diagnosed to comply with the treatment, because if you adhere to the daily medications, they may be uncomfortable, there may be signs, adverse events of the medications, but compliance will heal you and will save you. Not complying means that you expose your entire family to this disease. So let us all join the fight. When we go back to our constituencies, let's admonish people to check their status, and especially at-risk populations, so that we can minimize the incidence of tuberculosis. Yes, we can. As a country, we can't stop tuberculosis. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I'm grateful.
And now, members, we've come to the end of the statement on tuberculosis. We move to another statement standing in the name of Honorable Emilia Atta, Member of Parliament for Shaman constituency. You have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today at a defining moment in the moral history of our world, a moment that calls not only for acknowledgement, but for courage, not only for remembrance, but for justice. I rise to recognize and honor the historic passage of the United Nations resolution declaring the trafficking and racialized chattel enslavement of Africans as among the gravest crimes against humanity, and advancing the global cause of reparative justice. Mr. Speaker, permit me to begin by commending the President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, whose powerful and uncompromising address before the United Nations did not merely recount history, but reclaimed truth. He reminded the world that truth begins with language, that words shape consciousness, that the way we name history determines whether we confront it or conceal it. And so today, we stand on the side of truth. Mr. Speaker, there is a profound difference between calling a human being a slave and recognizing that human beings were enslaved. One strips away identity, the other restores it. One normalizes injustice, the other exposes it. This resolution matters because it rejects the language that erased our ancestors' humanity and replaces it with one that restores their dignity. It forces the world to confront an uncomfortable but undeniable reality: that millions of Africans were not passive participants in history. They were victims of a deliberate, systematic, and racialized enterprise that commodified human life on an unprecedented scale. Mr. Speaker, I speak today not only as a legislator, but as a custodian of memory. In my constituency, Shama, stands Fort San Sebastian, not merely a monument of stone, but a monument of truth. Within those walls, human beings were confined, stripped of their names, their dignity, and their freedom. They were reduced to cargo, packed into ships, transported across oceans, and sold into lives of unspeakable brutality. And yet, Mr. Speaker, even in that darkness, there was resistance, there was humanity, there was dignity that refused to die. That is the legacy we carry. Mr. Speaker, we must be clear: the trans-Saharan and the transatlantic trafficking and enslavement of Africans was not an accident of history. It was an economic system, highly organized, brutally efficient, and immensely profitable. When labor is stolen and rendered virtually free, profit margins soar. Entire economies were built on this exploitation. Infrastructure was developed. Wealth was accumulated. Nations were transformed. But the cost, the true cost, was borne by Africa and her people, us. And that cost did not end with their abolition. It lives on in structural inequities, in global disparities, in the unfinished business of justice. Mr. Speaker, this is why reparations are not a matter of sentiment. They are a matter of justice. They are not about assigning blame to the present for the past. They are about acknowledging that the past has shaped the present in profound and measurable ways. They are about repair of historical wrongs, repair of broken systems, and repair of dignity. Mr. Speaker, there are those who will say that we cannot judge the past by the standards of today, but history itself disproves this argument. At every stage of this cruel system, there were voices of conscience, voices that recognized its immorality and spoke against it. Right and wrong were never unclear. What was lacking was the will to act. And this week, At the United Nations, the world chose differently. 123 nations chose differently. Mr. Speaker, this resolution is also a safeguard against forgetting, because forgetting does not happen suddenly. It happens gradually. It begins with soft language. It continues with selective teaching. It ends in erasure. We have seen attempts, subtle and overt, to sanitize history, to replace enslaved people with workers, to downplay suffering, and to obscure truth. We must resist this firmly and unapologetically. For when we forget, we do not merely lose the past, we endanger the future. Mr. Speaker, but even as we reflect on injustice, we must also reclaim pride. Long before the disruption of slavery, Africa was home to great civilization, organized, innovative, and advanced. Our ancestors built cities, developed systems, and contributed to global progress in ways that history has too often chosen to be silent. Our story is not one of victimhood alone. It is one of resilience, of brilliance, and of enduring strength. And that strength is why we are still here today. As a nation, Ghana has always stood at the forefront of the Pan-African struggle for independence, for dignity, and for justice. Today, we are called upon once again to lead in shaping the global conversation on reparations, to lead in preserving our heritage sites, not as relics of shame, but as centers of education and remembrance, to lead in ensuring that the story of our ancestors is told fully, truthfully, and with the dignity it deserves. Mr. Speaker, this is not just a victory for Ghana. It is victory for Africa, for the Caribbean, for the diaspora, and for all people who believe in justice rooted in truth. But let us be clear, this is not the end. It is the beginning, a beginning that must lead to concrete actions, meaningful engagements, and measurable outcomes. Mr. Speaker, in closing, let us remember that history has placed a responsibility upon us to honor those who suffered, to speak for those who were silenced, and to build a future that reflects the justice they were denied. Let us rise to that responsibility with clarity, with courage, and with conviction, because truth has spoken, and now justice must follow. Thank you.
Honourable members, that is the statement ably made. Before taking contributions on the statement, permit me with 2 minutes suspension.
Mr. Speaker.
Members, thank you. Yes, Hajia Ladi, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the statement ably made by the Minister for Fisheries. Mr. Speaker, we as Ghanaians need to, for once, forget about our political differences, come together and then congratulate His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for the initiative taken and for what he won for not only Ghana, not only West Africa, but the whole of Africa and the world at large. Mr. Speaker, slavery might have come to an end, but the scars of slavery still lingers on. Mr. Speaker, slavery brought about a lot of hardship, dividing generations that were not yet born, economic hardships, a lot of insecurity existed. People lived in fear for the fact that they could be abducted at any time and sold out like goats, fowls, cattle. Mr. Speaker, I am not that old, but at least I have heard so much. And I can tell you and use myself as an example that my grandmother's mother was a slave. And I was born and I saw her. She told us the devastating story of how her mother was picked just outside the house by a man riding a horse. And her mother was sold out before she was also sold to where we found her as our grandmother, our grandmother's mother. Mr. Speaker, this has caused a lot in not only some of us, or not with some of us, but I can assure you that if you take the whole of Africa, and for that matter especially West Africa and the northern sector, where we even had slave markets established, you would find a whole mixture of people not even knowing where they came from and how they came. Mr. Speaker, so many people simply lost track of who they are. Many died. The strong were sold. Those who refused to go were killed. People were shipped like sardines in boats and carried away. Women barely walked naked. Mr. Speaker, we were treated, most of our grandfathers, our grandmothers, our forefathers were treated like nothing to write home about. Mr. Speaker, it is clear that while others, those who bought the slaves, were upstairs preaching, women were downstairs crying, children were crying, and a whole lot of issues. Mr. Speaker, slavery is something that has come, and we Africans can never ever forget about it. I don't want to talk about compensation, because there is no amount of compensation that can pay for the life of people who passed away, people who were separated from their families. Mr. Speaker, women had children whom they never thought about, so we heard, because Some of them even were taken by men whom they never knew. They gave birth to children who cannot trace their roots. Mr. Speaker, our wealth, I should say, which is human resource, because the strongest men, the strongest women, the most beautiful women, the most handsome men were carried away, shipped like fish, and taken away to where nobody ever knew. Mr. Speaker, they deserve our respect. They deserve that we should actually remember them. And those who committed those crimes need to. Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry my time is up. And let me say we want to congratulate the President and thank him for the yeoman's job he has done. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Jerry Ahmed.
Speaker, let me take this opportunity to contribute to the statement ably submitted by the Minister of Fisheries. Speaker, first of all, the statements we do not have copies, but I listened to her and I want to make the following contributions. Speaker, Ghana recently, I think somewhere in this month of March, had the UN General Assembly pass a historic resolution, and the resolution was started by His Excellency. Before the passage of the resolution, the step to get to this level was started by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Speaker, it was Nana Addo who, in September 2023, made very solid contributions on the UN platform. Speaker, and issues that he talked about was largely on reparations. Speaker, he asked for compensation and justice for descendants and the need for all countries that had violated Ghana in respect of slavery to make formal apologies. Speaker, Nana Addo started through the Ministry of Tourism and the Ghana Tourism Authority the year of return. Speaker, this year of return was seriously a program that most people in the diaspora participated. And that was what gave room to a lot of black people who are currently in the diaspora to see the need to reconnect with their roots, and especially those who came from Ghana had to connect with their Ghanaian parentage. Speaker, today we are here to talk about Ghana's role. Ghana led and pushed strongly for this resolution at the UN, and this was led by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama this time round. Speaker, the leadership argued that slavery had a lot of effects, and it still has effects on humans. One of which effect is racism. The other is economic inequality, and the other is global injustice. Speaker, as we speak today, we want to find out from ourselves, are we away from slavery? Have we departed from the connection of slavery? Speaker, if you ask me, we are still running to most of these countries to go and take very huge sums of money as loans. Speaker, when you say that there is a ship at Tema, and that people who want to go, whether people who want to go to the US or UK or even Mexico, Speaker, without any compulsion, we are very sure that people will willingly run to the ship. Speaker, people are using all forms of and all manners to just go out of the country called Ghana. So, Speaker, the first thing we have to do is to deal with ourselves and have a change of mindset and not do propaganda when it does not even matter to do propaganda. Speaker, What are we even getting? There, in all of this, one has to understand that reparations or no reparations, racism or no racism, global inequality, all we have to do is to start dealing with our own selves. The cocoa farmer that works so hard on the farm, the cocoa farmer is done working on the farm, and then you just export the cocoa without adding any value to the cocoa. That is the global inequality. Where there is gold, and you just go and mine the gold and send it without putting the gold into adding some value to the gold. Speaker, that is real slavery. And these are the things we need to depart from. Not because you have gone to have UN make a decision on a matter that will change the global inequality. Not when you have gone to the UN and to say that, oh, we cannot be any more called slaves. That will change the mindset. We need to change our mindset. We need to believe that it starts with us. And when we change, things will be for the betterment of the whole of Ghana and the world as a whole. Thank you very much, Speaker, for this opportunity.
Yes, majority.
Mr. Speaker, I think there's a second statement by the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee. So I would plead that if I can yield to the chairman to read his statement so that you give us 2 additional opportunities on both sides, or is it one additional opportunity on both sides?
Is it also on the same subject
yes,
matter?
Yes.
Then they would have been read jointly.
Pardon?
It would have been read jointly.
Yes, I didn't get the gist of the first statement, honestly, until she was almost concluding. So let's add the foreign affairs.
Well, may we ask him to reduce his statement to comment, if that is possible?
I don't know about preparation, but if you can indulge him to just read it. It's not
Very
long,
well.
Yes.
Very well. Yes, you have the floor.
Right Honorable Speaker, I rise to thank you for giving me the opportunity as Chairman of the Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Committee to commend His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for leading the historic United Nations resolution on the transatlantic slave trade as a grievous crime against history. Right Honorable Speaker, the opportunity affords us to make comments and to state the facts as what happened on the 25th of March, 2026. Representatives of the world's nations convened at the United Nations General Assembly, where through a decision, vote, and whose landmark resolution was adopted declaring the trafficking of enslaved Africans and racialized channel enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. This historic action, long sought by activists and Pan-Africanists, represents a monumental step towards global recognition of one of the greatest atrocities in human history. About 12 to 15 million African lives were vehemently unrooted, dehumanized, and commodified in the transatlantic freight trade, the effects of which continues to shape global inequalities, social injustice, and racial economic disparities in this world. Mr. Speaker, this achievement did not occur by chance. It was the result of purposeful leadership, meticulous democracy, and resolute moral clarity, exemplified by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana. In his distinguished capacity as the African Union champion for advancing the case of justice and the payment of reparations, His Excellency mobilized and unified continental resolve, securing strong consensus with the African Union and the Caribbean community, while constructively engaging global partners across regions. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama articulated a message that transcended rhetoric to provoke genuine international consensus that truth and recognition are preconditions for any lasting reconciliation. Mr. Speaker, we also acknowledge with respect the diplomatic dexterity exhibited by His Excellency as his team in securing broad multi-continental support for this initiative. While some member states chose to abstain or oppose the motion, the resolution adopted by a consensus majority of 123 votes in General Assembly stands as a testament to the universal consensus on this very important matter. Right Honorable Speaker, His Excellency John Dramani's leadership in this noble cause of justice. It is our hope and expectation that this historic milestone will not only prompt nations to confront the legacy of slavery with honest and sympathy, but that it will capitalize meaningfully measures in its international, continental, and domestic that advance healing constitute great opportunity for all people of Africa and African descent. This resolution serves not as an endpoint, but as the beginning of a deeper engagement on reparative justice, mutual reconciliation, and shared humanity. We trust that future generations will look back upon this decision made on the 25th of March, not just as a moment of political achievement, but as a moral truth and triumph in the enduring journey towards justice and reconciliation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All members, that is the additional statement. We will continue. Yes, Dr. Kabiru.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue raised and the statement read by the two respected ministers of state addresses an issue that, unfortunately, Ghana, having chopped this success, is now turning to be a political game. But, Mr. Speaker, for the purpose of this House and for the records, the history of slavery has left reeling effect on the conscience of Africa. It's a matter of fact that the havoc that slavery has caused to Africa, the denial of Africa of the rich human resources, the development of Europe through the labor and sweat of Africans. These historical injustices have been recorded with ocular proof that slavery has caused harm to Africa. And it was for this reason that many African leaders took a decision to, look at the issue of restorative justice. At the heart of reparation is restorative justice, Mr. Speaker. How do we make the victim get some benefit to atone for the historical injustice that have been perpetrated against the victim? That is the heart of this discussion. And under the leadership of the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, as the AU chairman, Mr. Speaker, I have in my hand what we call the Accra Proclamation on Reparation. It was a meeting convened by African leaders under the leadership of President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in Accra in November 2023. And I read, Mr. Speaker, I would want to read a portion of it. I quote, recognizing that the Accra Reparation Conference convened with a shared commitment to addressing historical injustice and injurious crimes committed against Africans and people of African descent through transatlantic enslavement, colonialism, and apartheid, and to addressing the inequities present in the international economic and political orders, is a demonstration of the African Union commitment to advancing the cause of reparatory justice and healing for Africans, for all people of African descent. Unquote, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is the program that the current president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has come to inherit. And it is only well and good that, having seen a good policy that is being championed by leaders of Africa, and he took a bold decision to embrace that, the president needs to be commended. And we on this side will have to commend the president for that. But the problem arises, Mr. Speaker, when the people who initiated this thing, Nana Akufo-Addo in September 23, 2024, gave a very powerful speech at the UN General Assembly. And that laid the foundation for that particular resolution that was passed. Mr. Speaker, a resolution at the UN General Assembly is not passed within a day. No president can meet an agenda at the UN Assembly in 1 year and put the agenda to fruition. There are several consultative engagements that will have to go on, and that was what went on under President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And when he did it, Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, people with repute, in fact, prominent people in Ghana, ridiculed the president, the former president. As a matter of fact, they said we were concerned about bread and butter issues. Why is the president going to talk about reparative justice? People were actually making mockery of the issues. Mr. Speaker, as we speak now, unemployment is still there, but we are celebrating reparative justice. As we speak now, electricity prices are going up, but we are celebrating this thing. As we speak now, cocoa prices, they are having haircuts, but we are celebrating these matters.
Honorable member, be mindful. Statements are not to generate debate.
Mr. Speaker, I am guided, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, these are the matters of fact. We don't need to finish the bread and butter issues and address issues that concerns Africa. Even at a time of disaster, we support our neighbors. So this issue of transatlantic slave trade and the effect it has caused on Africans, and the decision by the former president to champion it, and which has resulted into the success today, we have to embrace each other as Ghanaians and celebrate in unison and in chorus, the chorus of hallelujah, Mr. Speaker, because, but for the continuation, we wouldn't have achieved that. But let no one in this house or outside of this chamber ever try to take away the credit that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the seed that he has sown, that germinated, and the fruits that we are going to enjoy today, or we are enjoying today. Mr. Speaker, I want to forcefully present that it is not an end to have this passed by the UN General Assembly. We must find ways of ensuring that victims are actually compensated. We have monuments. Let us rebrand Ghana. The year of return was actually implemented. Let us use that opportunity to promote African.
Yes, Honorable Soini.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to these statements that have been made by our colleagues. Mr. Speaker, first of all, I wish to congratulate His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama for the initiative and the energy and compassion with which he pursued this agenda of making reparation, declare slavery as the gravest crime against humanity. Mr. Speaker, I'm a little worried that as we discuss this and celebrate it as Ghanaians, we allow the usual politicking to mar the beauty of this achievement. Mr. Speaker, watching the vote on that day, the pride I felt, I'm sure, was comparable to the pride that the Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and his generation felt on the day they stood in celebration to declare Ghana as an independent and free state. As the first Ghana as the first Sub-Saharan African to become independent. And you would have expected that this pride would have been felt by all. Mr. Speaker, but then we go into the debate of whether there's a founder with an apostrophe or a founder without an apostrophe. Mr. Speaker, that discussion never helps anybody. The truth is that many leaders, many activists, many scholars over the years have written and canvassed for support for slavery and reparation to be tabled at the UN. But this fixation of celebrating Nana Akufo-Addo mars the beauty of what we have achieved, because clearly the issue of reparation did not start with Nana Akufo-Addo in this country. It started way back in 1996 when we had the Accra Declaration. In 1996 when we had the Accra Declaration, President John Rawlings was the president in this country and supervised that conference that led to the declaration that Africa must pursue reparation. And so if Nana Akufo-Addo came and continued with it, and President Mahama has put the icing on the cake, why this fixation? So, Mr. Speaker, once again, let us come together as Ghanaians and embrace this moment as one of such moments that truly, reflects who we are as a country that always leads in the best of examples. Let us celebrate this moment together and ensure that we continue to contribute to the process, because it is not over. What has only happened is a recognition of what a crime it was. What is left is for us to gird our loins and put our acts together to seek the appropriate reparation that will restore our dignity and restore the damage that was caused by slavery. And this fixation of celebrating people must not cloud our judgment. Mr. Speaker, another point that has come up that I find quite disturbing has to do with why it always has to be a debate as to whether Africa deserves reparation when it comes to slavery. Mr. Speaker, around the world, we know that many other, victims of crime have been compensated without this needless distinction of who was a victim and who was a participant. When it came to compensating the Jews who, under Hitler's Germany, suffered inhumane treatment, this conversation did not come up. That yes, some of them may have voted for Hitler to become even the president of Germany. Does that make them compliant? No. Even in Haiti, people were compelled to pay compensation. Mr. Speaker, we also do know that even in Britain, when slavery ended, owners of slave owners were compensated. They were paid, but the slaves were not paid. And so let us not reduce this discussion as to who participated and who the victim was. Let us come together to continue the struggle so that at the end of it all, the appropriate reparation will be paid and the dignity of the African will be restored. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I once again congratulate His Excellency President Mahama. I congratulate our Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, for leading this charge at this time. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Minority Leader.
Yep. Speaker, I would want to commend the colleagues who put this statement together and thank them for at least introducing this subject matter to the House floor. I listened to Dr. Kabiru and I listened to Honorable Suhini. They all got their perspectives right. But for me, at the heart of this matter is the root cause of slavery. So let me try and simply explain how I've come to understand this matter as a student of history. Mr. Speaker, by the way, I did history for my electives in St. Augustine's. Mr. Speaker, then as a young student of history, this is how I understood the slave trade. That some people across the Atlantic needed labor for their plantations, and outside of the world offered to provide labor. The white man, the trade merchant, the slave merchant, and the one who needed labor did not get into the hinterlands, by the way. It's our own people who got into the hinterlands and were chasing people and victimizing people and were doing business. Sometimes when we're talking about history, let us state the facts as they are. If somebody bets a vessel, a boat at Cape Coast, and you decide to go to the north, go to the Bono area, get to the Ashanti area, get into the Asin area, and you are chasing your own people, the strongest amongst them. Then after 100 years, you say, I should be compensated. Who should compensate who? Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, I don't want us to create a certain impression that, expressing an opposing view to this whole reparation thing makes you anti-African, or you are not thinking about the suffering. Who suffered? We maltreated our own. We maltreated our own and told the white man that he should also maltreat our own. So, Mr. Speaker, the story must be told and be put in its proper context. That notwithstanding, Mr. Speaker, it is also a fact that inhumane treatment, the unfortunate humiliation, the marginalization, the injustice, the abuse of our ancestors who became victims of this slave trade, Mr. Speaker, must be condemned, and I so condemn him. They were treated as less human. And Mr. Speaker, if that is where the argument is being situated, then Mr. Speaker, I'm all for it. I am all for it. the effort by our president must be commended. Those who preceded him, former President Rawlings, former President Mills, and in the recent past, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Mr. Speaker, they've all preached this concept of getting our people back home, especially those who have lost their ancestry. But we cannot forget the first president, President Nkrumah, who through his Pan-Africanist ideology preached and spoke about slavery and the need for us to re-identify our personality as Africans. Mr. Speaker, a certain professor has written a book, and somewhere in the book I read that we live in a Kwekwanansi society. I tried to understand what that professor meant by this. The understanding I got was that as Africans, we don't love ourselves enough. We can give true meaning to this resolution if we show much love to one another. And we can give true meaning to this resolution if we promote industry. Mr. Speaker, in Ghana today, let's put aside the politics, the MPP, NDC politics, and get onto the streets and identify the problems we have. One, many of those who have invested in Ghana take back their profits. It is not to say that we should discourage foreign investment. When somebody invests in your country, he will take his investment, his profit back home. It is to be expected. So that means that to grow our economy, to create opportunity for our people, there must be homegrown businessmen.
Honorable Minority Leader, conclude. Speaker will take
very well. Mr. Speaker, so I am saying that we should do all we can by way of giving true meaning to this resolution to grow our own. And our friends in government have a golden opportunity. Encourage Ghanaian enterprise, build Ghanaian businesses. Let's help Ghanaian businesses to grow. Let's open opportunities in all sectors: mining, energy, agriculture, AI. Government should open such opportunities for Ghanaian businesses, because when Ghanaian businesses get such opportunities, they would use the profits to reinvest in the economy, and our own people would benefit. But Mr. Speaker, whilst at it, let me also encourage potential Ghanaian businesses. When you get the opportunity, use the opportunity and use it wisely. Don't mismanage the opportunity. Invest and invest well. Don't, Mr. Speaker, get a contract and the next thing you do is to go and buy a luxury vehicle, even when you are not done with executing the contract. You've already calculated your profit ahead of time. Mr. Speaker, these are very critical. Without more, Mr. Speaker, I would want to end here and believe that another opportunity will come for us to have a much more in-depth discussion on this important matter. Mr. Speaker, I thank you so much.
Yes, majority.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And let me join colleagues to commend the makers of the statement. First and foremost, I think it should be made clear to everyone that the issue of reparations did not start yesterday. The issue of recognition of the harm done Africans and all nations that have ever been victims of slavery and subsequently colonialism did not start yesterday. Mr. Speaker, the struggle has been a historic one in which generation after generation have sought to draw attention to the fact that slavery has had consequences on the continent where the enslaved were taken away from, and those who were enslaved, the generations that came after them in Europe, in America, in South America, have suffered consequences. That what happened was immoral. And even beyond being immoral, that what happened is a crime against the entirety of humanity. This has been a historic struggle, and we must recognize everyone who participated in the struggle. And that is why I cannot begrudge anyone for recognizing the contribution of the former president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in propagating the principle that Africans must be compensated for the losses and suffering occasioned by slavery. But Mr. Speaker, today the statement is not about those who engage in the struggle. The statement is about the General Assembly resolution that has been passed. That's what the statement is about. The General Assembly resolution that has been passed. Because that resolution constitutes a global endorsement of the principle that Africa has suffered, that South America has suffered, and that people of African origin in the United States, North America, have suffered, and that people of African descent in Europe have suffered as a result of the historic injustice of slavery and colonialism. That many of those countries that have wealth today can trace the origin of their wealth to slavery. Many of the capitalist states today that have become rich started from plantations that were worked on by slaves, and that it is the labor of slaves that helped them to build capital, which later on, added to technology and other considerations, also led to the wealth that those nations are enjoying now. As a result, there is a need to share that wealth in recognition of those who have been the foundation of the creation of that wealth. That is the basic principle around the question of reparations. And it is President John Dramani Mahama who capped it all. Who capped it all by mobilizing the world to pass a historic resolution in that regard. That is what we are talking about. We are not saying that in his speeches We are not saying that President Akufo-Addo in his speeches in the past has never mentioned reparatory justice. Mr. Speaker, in fact, Bob Marley also mentioned reparatory justice. Peter Tosh also talked about reparatory justice. Marcus Garvey spoke about reparatory justice. Mr. Speaker, my history lecturer at the University of Ghana spoke about reparatory justice. So, Mr. Speaker, as for reparatory justice, many have spoken about it. But it is one man who took it to the UN and got the UN to pass a resolution to that effect. And that one man is President John Dramani Mahama. And that is why this House must commend him for that show of leadership, that show of statesmanship, that show of Pan-Africanism. And he did not just end by talking about it, but took it to its penultimate and final stage, which is to get a UN resolution. What we need to do as Africans is to see how, going forward, we can build on this agreement that has been reached at the level of the UN to try and mobilize global resources to implement the reparation agenda. Mr. Speaker, on that note, I want to join colleagues to commend the President, to congratulate the President, and to reaffirm our admiration for the President as a person who does not only govern his country well, but who wants the world itself governed properly. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Member for Wale said that when Akufo-Addo spoke about reparatory justice, there were people who said he should concentrate on the bread and butter issues in Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I think that those people were right at that time. But today, we can afford to talk about reparatory justice because indeed the price of bread has come down. Indeed, the price of rice has come down. Indeed, the price of maize has come down. And but for Iran, the price of fuel was also coming down. So, Mr. Speaker, we can now talk about reparatory justice. We can talk about reparatory justice. The fundamentals are now right.
Honorable Majority Leader, be reminded of Order 93.5.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much.
Honorable members, that brings us to the end of that statement. Indulge me to acknowledge the presence of students from Elevation International School, led by Jonathan Mensah, Assistant Head Teacher. They are from Trobu constituency, they numbered 65. We also have a Fanko MA Basic School 3, led by Eric Okai Obain, Assistant Head Teacher. They are from Anya Sotum, they numbered 97. Honourable members, on your behalf, I welcome them to Parliament of Ghana and urge them to have a fruitful visit. Kindly resume your seats. Honourable members, I understand we have to take a short tribute in memory of a former member of this House. So I'll call on Ashai Udamti to read the tribute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity granted me to present a tribute in memory of the late Honorable Basil Bade Stanley Kabu. Mr. Speaker, what do people gain from all these labors at which they toil under the sun? Today, I stand in Parliament to eulogize a gentle giant. I speak of a man of great mettle, soft-spoken, always smiling, but firm as they come. A man whose service to country, party, and constituency was so telling, yet so discreet. Many who have benefited from his sterling work may ask of whom I speak. Mr. Speaker, I pay tribute to a distinguished son of the Ningo Pram constituency, our father, colleague, and comrade, Honorable B.B. Kabu, affectionately known as Bibi. His passing reminds us of life's inevitable reality and the sovereignty of God, who, in his infinite wisdom, has called him home. Honorable B.B. Kabu lived a life marked by dedication, service, and commitment to the welfare of his people and the development of his community and the constituency. He was among the founding members of the Eagle Club, established between 1991 and 1992, within the Ningo Pram traditional area. This group later evolved into the National Democratic Congress, NDC, when the party was formally launched in June 1992. In his quest to strengthen the party and promote democratic governance, Honorable Kabu served as the first chairman of the Greater Accra Regional Executive Committee of the NDC. The party took root in his personal office before we officially got a space of our own. His dedication to the party's ideals and his commitment to grassroots mobilization significantly contributed to the party's growth and consolidation in the Ningo Pram constituency and in the Greater Accra region. In the landmark 1992 parliamentary elections, Honorable B.B. Kabu contested the parliamentary seat for the Ningo Pram constituency alongside other notable candidates from the constituency. With confidence and widespread public support, he emerged victorious. He was duly elected as the first Member of Parliament for the Ningo Pram constituency in the Fourth Republic of Ghana. During his tenure as Member of Parliament, Honorable Kabu showed exceptional leadership and commitment to developing the constituency. Notably, he oversaw the construction of the road from Dawenya through Pram and New Ningo to Jange Bridge, which significantly improved transportation and directly enabled increased socio-economic activities within the constituency. Mr. Speaker, additionally, during his tenure as Member of Parliament, he initiated the idea of bridging the Jange Lagoon between New Ningo and Old Ningo. This followed a visit by the President, Flight Lieutenant J.J. Rawlings, to both communities. The initiative reflected his vision of improving connectivity and fostering development across the constituency. Mr. Speaker, within his 4-year term in Parliament, Honorable B.B. Kabu facilitated several developmental projects that continue to benefit the people of Ningo Pram. Among these was the construction of head teachers' bungalows in several district assembly schools, including those in New Ningo, Dawenya, and other communities within the constituency. He also championed the upgrading of numerous township roads, particularly in New Ningo and surrounding communities. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Kabu belonged to a class of his own in style and panache. When he spoke, You heard the voice of a sage and the words of the ancestors. His fashion sense was impeccable. Few could match his looks in any room BB entered. In this chamber today, only Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Right Aban Subani Kingsford Dagbin, and the Honorable Collins Dauda served alongside him from the first Parliament of the Fourth Republic. Mr. Speaker, beyond his achievements in public service, Honorable Kabu was admired by his humility, integrity, and strong commitment. His leadership extended beyond politics to the strengthening of families, traditional institutions, and party structures. We cannot overlook the leadership and guidance he gave not only to his Kabu Opetoto family, but also to the Ningo Prampram constituency, the Akatamanso NDC party, and the nation. His legacy of dedication, honesty, and service will stay with us. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the constituency executives, Council of Elders, the entire membership of the Ningo Prampram constituency of the National Democratic Congress, both past and present, and on behalf of myself as the MP, Honorable Sam Nate George, on whose behalf I read this, we extend our deepest condolences to the bereaved family and all who mourn this great statesman. Indeed, Honorable B.B. Kabu has fought the good fight. He has left a lasting legacy of service and commitment to his people. May Almighty God, who alone has authority over life and death, grant him mercy. May he receive his soul into perfect and everlasting peace. You will remain in our hearts forever, Honorable B.B. Kabu. Farewell, Senior Comrade. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Members, that is a tribute. It's not time for contributions, comments. Well, honourable members, in the absence of anybody on his feet to comment, I take it that we've come to the end of statement for today. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I'm trying to convince my colleague, the Minority Leader, for us to just kill it. This Governance Advisory Council bill, it has very few amendments, very simple bill that we could just pass in an hour and then we can go to our motions.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Speaker, as it pleases him.
Yes, motion numbered.
Mr. Speaker, that will be motion number 26 of the substantive order paper on page 7 of same, Speaker.
Well, motion number 7, Attorney General and Minister for Justice.
Speaker, the Honorable Attorney General is unavailable, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, I pray that the Deputy Minister for Health should take this on his behalf. Thank you.
Yes. Minority Leader.
Speaker, the Attorney General has a deputy. We have an important motion that has been pending all these weeks, we all agree that we would take the motion as a matter of priority, and that this will be taken when we resume. Then out of nowhere, an order paper addendum is printed. The majority always bringing a surprise. And now we are told that a deputy health minister should lay a paper because both the Attorney General and his deputy are not in this chamber without a reason. Mr. Speaker, let the records reflect that this is being done in bad faith. The majority should also prioritize the all-important motion that has been pending so that, Mr. Speaker, the country will know that as part of our oversight, we don't sleep on our job.
Yes, Honorable Deputy Minister for Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the Governance Advisory Council Bill 2025 be now read a second time. I so move.
Honourable members, I will call on the chairman of the committee to present the committee's report. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I'm exceedingly grateful.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Speaker, with respect, we want to understand what is happening in this chamber. We want to know whether this house is no more a house of procedure. What did the minister just do? The Deputy Minister of Health? What did she just do? Mr. Speaker, we don't understand what she just did. Move which motion? Motion to what effect? That what? Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, if the majority wants somebody to do it, they should teach the person to do it the right way. Yes, Mr. Speaker, what did she just do? We should understand what is happening.
Honourable members,
move which motion?
Deputy Minister begged to move that the Governance Advisory Council Bill 2025 be now read the second time.
No, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let us call for the text. No, Mr. Speaker, if the matter is being challenged, what did she do? She should then move. If she is in doubt, she should move the motion again. What did she just do? Mr. Speaker, the motion must be properly moved and the right thing must be done. That is what the rule says. If they want the Deputy Minister of Health to do.
Honourable Minority Leader, with all due respect, I do not see any defect in the way and manner the motion
Speaker, that's
is
your
moved.
ruling. Mr. Speaker, I respect your ruling.
Very well.
If Mr. Speaker's pleasure
yes.
is that the motion as moved had no defect,
yes.
Mr. Speaker, I yield to you and I yield to posterity on this matter.
Very well. So, Chairman of the committee, yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I think this attitude of always attacking this particular member of parliament by the minority leader must stop. Must stop. At every opportunity, he tries to attack her. Mr. Speaker, what's the meaning of this? Why has she done to him? What don't we know? What don't we know? What don't we know? Tell us. What don't we know?
need to know? Is there something we need to know? If there is, let us know. But to always attack her, the way you do is not fair. Whatever it is, we can help you. Mr. Speaker, we'll go by your ruling. We all heard what she said. We all saw that she moved the motion.
Yes, Chairman of the committee. Oh, Minority Leader, I think that's on the lighter side.
Mr. Speaker, yeah, you will know. You will know. You will know. I will let you know. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader will know it here and now. Speaker, in this chamber, we learn and we learn the rules. I raised an issue, and Mr. Speaker, as the presiding officer, you ruled. I didn't challenge your ruling. I yielded to your ruling and to posterity. These were my 2 words. Mr. Speaker, that is a matter of record. I thought the majority leader on his feet was going to raise an issue against my preliminary position in respect of the motion. But Mr. Speaker, he controls his side. He takes charge of training. I take charge of mine. So, Mr. Speaker, if that's the way he wants it to go, so be it. I've yielded. If he wants to know something more, he can see me in chambers.
So, Minority Leader, there is something to know. Yes, Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, on that note, once we are not knowing anything, may I... The Governance Advisory Council Bill, Mr. Speaker, 2025 was laid in Parliament by the Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Justice Shremsai, on Wednesday, 3rd December 2025, in accordance with Article 106.1 of the 1992 Constitution. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Article 106.4 and Order 238 of the Standing Orders of Parliament, the Right Honourable Speaker referred the bill to the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs. The matter which I present today, Mr. Speaker, may I humbly ask the Hansard Department to capture the entire report while I read the concluding aspects. Accordingly, Mr. Speaker, the committee underscores the importance of clear mandates, effective coordination mechanisms, and safeguards for autonomy to ensure that the Council meaningfully contributes to the democratic consolidation and improved governance outcomes in our country. Consequently, Mr. Speaker, the committee recommends that this esteemed House adopts its report and pass the Governance Advisory Council Bill in accordance with Article 106 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Respectfully, I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, motion move, report presented. It is for the consideration of the House. At this point, we shall debate the principles underpinning the bill on the basis of the explanatory memorandum and the report of the committee. The floor is now open. Yes, Majority Chief Whip.
Speaker, just by way of a guide, so we take just one.
Very well, because we have some pending motions. Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I believe that this particular bill, as the chairman of the committee indicated, was presented to this House sometime last year. And the committee's report, unfortunately, I think it was once laid, but we couldn't debate it. Unfortunately, we don't have it provided on the console. But importantly, Mr. Speaker, we need to look at the import of why we want to establish the Governance Advisory Council. The understanding is that this council is supposed to provide some governance framework and advice to government. Mr. Speaker, if you look at portions of the bill, particularly the object for this particular Governance Advisory Council is first to promote good governance and integrity, enhance citizens' participation in decision making, and also enhance public trust in governance institutions. It is important that we establish trust in governance institutions because as a country, we seem to be losing a lot of confidence and trust in state organizations. Citizens have had concerns time and again in dealing with issues of governance and governance framework across the public sector. And so time is far overdue for us to have such an important governance council that will provide the enabling environment and framework for the citizenry to be able to go to and look at how best our institutions are supposed to perform. Mr. Speaker, if you look at one of the clauses, the independence of the council, I find it very interesting because this particular bill seeks to create an independent council that would provide us with that level of trust for our governance system. And for me, that is very key. But the law can have the intention to create an independent council. But the reality is whether the council will be given the support and capacity to act independently. So, Mr. Speaker, on all fours, I believe it is very ripe and proper. We are going to look at this particular bill in detail, and then as and when we need to make some proposals to amend certain clauses, we will do so. Mr. Speaker, without more, let me thank the committee, your committee, for giving us the report, and we on this side, I believe, will contribute our quota to make it the best document. I so thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable James Senu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity, and I rise to support the adoption of the report, by the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs in respect of the Governance Advisory Bill. Mr. Speaker, if you look at page 4 of the report, the first paragraph, we find the object of the bill. And it says that the object of the bill is to establish the Governance Advisory Council to promote good governance and integrity, enhance citizen participation in decision-making, enhance public trust in governance institutions, and improve governance performance and service delivery. Mr. Speaker, as a country, we have come very far in our governance systems in terms of citizen awareness and participation, in terms of transition from one government to the other. But our governance system is still bedeviled with some challenges. Mr. Speaker, one of the main reasons for this bill is to ensure that those challenges are addressed. Mr. Speaker, concerns have been raised regarding issues of duplication as far as the functions of the council is concerned. But Mr. Speaker, the main idea is to create a council that will be able to complement and be able to collaborate and coordinate some of these governance institutions so that issues that confront governance in this country can be adequately addressed. Mr. Speaker, so said, I pray that the House adopts this report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, minority leadership. Very well. Majority.
I yield to the member for Kwesiminti.
Yes, you have the floor. Be brief.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to also add my voice by calling upon the House to adopt this report by the committee. Mr. Speaker, we all agree that good governance is very, very necessary for the development of every society. Mr. Speaker, all other systems rely on the political system. And the political system is that system which ensures that the state moves on and the state develops very well. So, Mr. Speaker, looking at even the membership of this advisory council, you could see that it is very independent. It is made up of all institutions that are necessary to contribute for the betterment of the state. And so, without much ado, I would want to add my voice to calling upon all of us to support this bill, to support it and make sure that it helps our nation to march forward in this good governance stride that we are on. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity.
Honourable members, at the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as are in favour of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried.
An act to establish the Governance Advisory Council as a non-partisan body to facilitate and enhance accountable and responsible governance by promoting collaboration among governance institutions, coordinating and strengthening multi-stakeholder engagement, providing advisory support and strategic oversight, making evidence-based policy recommendations, monitoring governance performance and fostering opening participatory democracy, and to provide for related matters.
Honourable members, Governance Advisory Council Bill 2025 is now duly read for the second time. Yes, motion number 27.
Speaker, humbly, the Honourable Attorney General and Minister for Justice is unavailable. As a result, Mr. Speaker, my prayer is that the Honourable Deputy Minister for Health should do this on his behalf, Mr. Speaker. Wait.
Yes, Deputy Minister for Health, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask that notwithstanding the provision of Order 169(1) of the Standing Orders, which requires that when a bill has been read a second time, the bill shall pass through a consideration stage, which shall not be taken until at least 2 standing days have elapsed. The consideration stage of the Governance Advisory Council Bill 2025 may be taken today. Thank you. I so move.
Members, motion ably moved. Any seconder?
Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Motion moved and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. Members, this is a procedural motion. The question is, as many as are in favour of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Members, the ayes have it. The motion is carried. Now, Governance Advisory Council Bill 2025 at consideration stage. Clause 1.
Establishment of the Governance Advisory Council.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Yes. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, respectfully, we don't have copies of the bill.
So what you have to do is to request for a copy, because this bill is last year. Probably you have a copy, you might not have brought yours, so you just request for a copy. Honorable members, in the absence of any proposed amendment to clause 1, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 1 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 2.
Objects of the Council.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment to clause 2? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 2 standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 2 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 3.
Functions of the Council.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 3 standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 3 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 4.
Independence of the Council.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Yes, Honorable Boama.
Mr. Speaker, if you look at clause 4, 2, it's indicating that the Council in the performance of its function under this Act will cooperate with relevant institutions but shall not interfere with the day-to-day administration or decision-making process of the relevant institution. But we're dealing with the independence of the Council itself. Here we're talking at 2 on the independence of the institutions they are supposed to be administering. So I find a little challenge with that clause 2 being seen as part of the Council's independence. So I don't know if the chairman of the committee can explain to me.
Yes, Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, it's not about administration. They are not administering the processes with the other institutions. They're just coordinating and cooperating with them as far as their work is concerned. And so theirs is to liaise of a sort and pick up early warning signals just so that they can avert any future occurrences. So they are not administering, they are coordinating and cooperating with them as far as their work is concerned.
Yes, Speaker. So I think that the 2 could go into the function of the Council rather than it staying as part of the independence of the Council. Because from my reading and understanding, again, I think the 4.2 doesn't speak to the head note of the independence of the Council. I don't know if, Chairman, Speaker, I can be guided by
the 4.2 is simply saying that, first, 4.1 is saying that the Council is independent in the performance of its functions. And 2 is saying that the Council shall, in the performance of that independent function, in the performance of its function, because it's performing the function in independent manner. Therefore, you are to cooperate with relevant institutions, but you are not to interfere with the day-to-day administration. Now, this is telling the Council what they cannot do. You are independent in the performance of your function. However, in performing your functions, you cooperate, but not to perform the day-to-day administration of any institution. That is my understanding. Yes.
Okay, Speaker. So, be that as it may, I think that it could well situate at the function of the authority. But I think wherever it is situated,
the functions are talking about what the Council should do. But this one is saying that you cannot do.
So, Speaker, I think we are good to go. Thank you.
I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 4 standing part of the bill say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 4 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 5.
Governing body of the Council.
Chairman of the committee may move amendment I.
Speaker, amendment I, clause 5 subclause 1, paragraph C, insert the following new paragraph. One religious leader nominated by the Catholic Bishops' Conference. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
It is for the consideration of the House. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, with this new proposed amendment, I want to find out from it. We are talking about one religious leader. Why are we limiting that nomination to the Catholic Bishops' Conference? Because the religious bodies are very huge. So if the chairman could.
Yes, chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, if you look at 5(1)(c), it talks about one religious leader nominated by the Christian Council of Ghana. Then it goes to specify in D, one religious leader nominated by the Muslim Conference of Ghana. Then C, one traditional ruler nominated by the National House of Chiefs. Speaker, but we recognize the block of the Catholic fraternity and the Catholic Conference. And so we think that it's a block that should be part of it. Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I will propose that it should go to Christian Council of Ghana, because Christian Council is the embodiment of all religious organizations, including the Catholic Bishops' Conference. So if we talk about one religious leader, I think it is fair to situate it under the Christian Council of Ghana. So I so move that we replace the Catholic Bishop with the Christian Council of Ghana. It's Christian Council of Ghana.
We have C, which is the Christian Council. And the Christian Council is quite different from the Catholics. So I'll put a question to the proposed amendment. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is carried. Aye.
Speaker, aye. Subclause 1, after paragraph G, subparagraph IX, insert the following new subparagraph. The National Commission for Civic Education, nominated by the chairperson of the National Commission for Civic Education. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
All members, the proposed amendment is for consideration. In the absence of any further amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is carried. Chairman, aye.
Mr. Speaker, aye. Clause 5, amendment proposed. Subclause 2, delete. Mr. Speaker, we don't think that we want to provide for a vice chairperson. The reason why deleting it. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
It is for the consideration of the House. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Subclause 2 is accordingly ordered to be deleted. Now I'll put a question on entire clause 5. As many as are in favor say aye. Yes. Honorable Kenneth Ado.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you look at what the import of the bill is seeking to do, is seeking to have a very independent body that can give advice. And if you look at the function, but Mr. Speaker, you are seeing that the chairperson is supposed to be appointed by the president. I thinking that we should amend that so that the members themselves, after meeting, can elect the chairperson, because we want to promote good governance, we want to promote trust and integrity. And a lot of times when we have these people appointed by executive, it tends to help. So at least for the first time that we are having...
Honorable Kenneth Ado, the provisions in the Constitution as to who should appoint is very clear.
No,
That is why even the Chief Justice is appointed by the President.
Speaker, it's a public institution.
Yes.
And the Constitution has prescribed.
You can establish a body corporate and do away with Article 195 of the Constitution. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of Clause 5 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. Honourable members, Clause 5 as variously amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 6.
Functions of the board.
Chairman of the committee.
Speaker, no advertise amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of Clause 6 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 6 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 7.
Duties and liabilities of a member of the board.
Chairman of the committee.
Speaker, no advertise amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of Clause 7 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 7 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 8.
Tenure of office of members of the board.
Chairman of the committee.
Speaker, no advertise amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment to Clause 8? Yes.
Speaker, just a brief guidance from the chair. It says that the board members should hold office for a period of 5 years. Is that 5 years? Is that the 8th one? Yes. Is there any special reason why we want the tenure to be 5 years and not 4 years? Just so I can come with my...
Yes. Chairman, is there any reason for which it should be?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we wanted to transcend an election cycle. Because it's an independent body, it doesn't matter which government sets it up. Once the tenure of the board transcends another election cycle, it moves into the next governance system.
Part of the reason also is that a government upon winning election may not be able to constitute the boards and then the councils immediately. It takes some time in order not to create vacuum. It will transcend. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of Clause 8 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 8 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 9.
Meetings of the board.
Chairman of the committee.
Speaker, Clause 9 IV amendment proposed sub-clause 3 line 1 delete 9 and insert 11. I so move.
It's for the consideration of the House. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is carried. Chairman V.
Speaker, V, Clause 9 amendment proposed sub-clause 4 delete and insert the following. The chairperson shall preside at a meeting of the board, and in the absence of the chairperson, a member of the board elected by the members present from amongst their number shall preside. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
All members, this is a regular provision in our bills. I will therefore put a question. As many as are in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment to Clause 9 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now I'll put a question on entire Clause 9. As many as are in favor, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 9 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 10.
Establishments of committees.
Chairman of the committee.
Speaker, no advertise amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of Clause 10 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 10 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 11.
Establishment of committees.
Chairman of the committee.
Speaker, no advertise amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, the question is as many as are in favor of Clause 11 standing part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say no. The ayes have it. Clause 11 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 12.
Allowances.
Speaker, no advertise amendments.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any proposed amendment? Honourable members, I'll put the question. As many as are in favor of clause 12 standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 12 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 13.
Appointment of Executive Secretary.
Chairman of the committee.
No advertised amendments.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put the question. As many as are in favor of clause 13 standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 13 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 14.
Functions of the Executive Secretary.
Chairman of the committee.
Speaker, no advertised amendments.
It is for the consideration of the House. I'll put a question. Those in favor of clause 14 standing part of the bill say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 14 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 15.
Appointment of other staff.
Speaker, no advertised amendments.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of clause 15 standing part of the bill say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 15 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 16.
Secretariat of the Council.
Chairman of committee.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendments.
It is for the consideration of the House. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before we go to the appointments of the other staff, Mr. Speaker, this bill is conspicuously missing secretary to the board. You know, we have the executive secretary, but it's not the board secretary. So, Mr. Speaker, if the chair doesn't mind, make provisions for secretary to the board of this council is missing conspicuously. The executive secretary is the head of the council, but we are missing secretary to the board of the council.
Well, I'm not getting your point.
Mr. Speaker, the executive secretary is the administrative head of the council who will be in charge of day-to-day administration of the council. But we are missing the secretary to the board of the council, which is a regular rendition that we cannot.
Is that not what 16 is talking about? You should also look at 14.3.
Okay. But with the current rendition, we have always been focusing on who the secretary to the board is. But if we want to use this rendition, that's fine with me too.
Yes, some of the renditions, they ask that you designate a staff as a secretary. So clause 16, no advertised amendment. It is for the consideration of the House. In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 16 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 17.
Internal Audit Unit.
Mr. Speaker, we don't have advertised amendment.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any proposed amendment to 17? Yes, Dr. Kabiru.
Speaker, maybe I'll come a second consideration because we just passed 16. And that was where I didn't catch your eye.
Well, I can grant you leave.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, thank you for being so gracious. 16, the secretariat of I was thinking that we can give the secretariat to be headed by the chief executive officer, because if you say the secretariat is to be established and we don't have direction as to the authority to head the secretariat, I'm just thinking that we should provide a clause if the chairman will be minded. So we say that the chief executive officer shall be the head of the secretariat, if that is 14. They say administrative head. They didn't say. I'm guiding, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any proposed amendment to clause 17? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 17 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 18.
Funds of the Council.
Mr. Speaker, VI under clause 18, we have an amendment. Paragraph B, after gifts, delete and other voluntary contributions. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
It is for the consideration of the House. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment to clause 18 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now I'll put a question on the entire clause 18. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 18 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 19.
Bank account of the Council.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, VII on page 2, clause 19, amendment proposed. Delete and insert the following. Monies for the council shall be paid into the bank account open for the purpose with approval of the controller and accountant general. I so move.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any proposed amendment? This appears to be a standard provision. I'll put a question. As many as are in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now I'll put a question on entire clause 19. Those in favor of clause 19 as amended standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 19 as amended is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 20.
Expenses of the Council.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendments.
I'll put a question. In the absence of any further amendment, those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 20 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 21.
Accounts and audit.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendments.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any proposed amendment? I'll put a question. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 21 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 22.
Annual reports and other reports.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendments.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. Those in favor of clause 22 standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 22 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 23.
Disclosure of findings and recommendations.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, no advertised amendments.
It is for the consideration of the House. Any proposed amendment? In the absence of any proposed amendment, I'll put a question. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 23 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 24.
Regulations.
Chairman of the committee, amendment number VIII.
Mr. Speaker, amendment number VIII. Clause 24, amendment proposed, line 1 after minister, delete may, in consultation with the board, and insert, shall within 12 months of the coming into force of this act, in consultation with the board. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, is for the consideration of the House. Any further amendment? In the absence of any further amendment, the question is as many as are in favor of the proposed amendment say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now the question on clause 24 in its entirety. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 24 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Clause 25.
Interpretation.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Speaker, interpretation, clause 25, amendment proposed. After the definition of council, insert the following. Executive secretary means the person appointed under section 13 of this act. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Members, the proposed amendment is for your consideration. Any further amendment? In the absence of any further amendment, I'll put a question. As many as are in favor of a proposed amendment standing part of the bill say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The proposed amendment is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now to the entire clause 25. As many as are in favor of clause 25 standing part of the bill say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Clause 25 is ordered to stand part of the bill. Honourable members, long title.
An act to establish the Governance Advisory Council as a non-partisan body to facilitate and enhance accountable and responsible governance by promoting collaboration among governance institutions, coordinating and strengthening multi-stakeholder engagement, providing advisory support and strategic oversight, making evidence-based policy recommendations, monitoring governance performance, and fostering open participatory democracy, and to provide for related matters.
Honourable members. Yes, Chairman of the committee.
Speaker, I thought you were going to deal with a short title, even though there's no...
Do you have a proposed amendment to the short title?
Even though there's no proposed amendment.
Very well.
Just so that we take it as part of the...
Very well. Let's start with the short title.
Speaker, no proposed amendment.
Very well. The short title is ordered to stand part of the bill. Let me put a question. Those in favor of the short title standing part of the bill say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The short title is ordered to stand part of the bill. Now the long title.
Mr. Speaker, no amendments.
It's for the consideration of the House. Honourable members, any proposed amendment to the long title? In the absence of any proposed amendment to the long title, I'll put a question. The question is, as many as are in favor of the long title standing part of the bill say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The long title is ordered to stand part of the bill. Honourable members, that brings us to the end of the consideration stage for Governance Advisory Council Bill 2025. Yes, motion number 29, Majority Leader.
Speaker, may I plead that my earlier submission in respect of the Deputy Minister for Health doing so on behalf of the Attorney General be applied in this case as well?
Yes, we base it on the earlier permission. Yes, Minority Leader.
Speaker, we will reluctantly agree to this. The only condition is that the majority chief whip must do the right thing. Must do the right thing. Mr. Speaker, the right thing here means he should ensure that application as made, if granted, is moved in accordance with the rules. Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Honorable Deputy Minister for Health, you have the floor to move motion number 29.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that notwithstanding the provision of Order 172.1 of the Standing Orders, which requires that when a bill has passed through the consideration stage, the third reading thereof shall not be taken until at least one sitting day has elapsed. The motion for the third reading of the Governance Advisory Council Bill 2025 may be moved today. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. Motion ably moved. Any seconder? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the application is asking for a waiver so that the motion is moved. Mr. Speaker, how then do you say that the motion may be moved? may be moved. How? No, Mr. Speaker, you are saying that. So, Mr. Speaker, we have a problem. Mr. Speaker, may be taken today when your application is to take it. Your application, I am not interested in the text. I'm not interested in the text. Mr. Speaker, you are waiving the required notice for at least 24 hours. Then you say that may be moved. Mr. Speaker, you should say that be moved, because that is the gravamen of your application.
Honourable members, motion ably moved. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Motion moved and seconded. It is for the consideration of the House. This is a procedural motion. The question is, as many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried. Now, consequential motion numbered 30.
Speaker, may I plant my application on the earlier submission that the substantive motion 30 be moved on behalf of the Honourable Attorney General by the Honourable Deputy Minister for Health. Mr. Speaker, that's all.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, we are not opposed to the application.
Very well. This is the reason for which the text of the motion earlier moved is correct. Because if at this stage there is a problem in relation to which we will not move the motion, very well. Yes, Deputy Minister for Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the Governance Advisory Council Bill 2025 be now read the third time. I so move. Thank you.
Motion moved. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Motion moved. Any seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Honourable members, motion moved and seconded, and it is for the consideration of the House.
Speaker,
do you want to arrest the motion?
No, at all. It's for the consideration of the House.
So it's for the consideration of the House?
Yes. Speaker,
I will then put the question. As many as are in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted.
An act to establish the Governance Advisory Council as a non-partisan body to facilitate and enhance accountable and responsible governance by promoting collaboration among governance institutions, coordinating and strengthening multi-stakeholder engagement, providing advisory support and strategic oversight, making evidence-based policy recommendations, monitoring governance performance, and fostering open participatory democracy, and to provide for related matters.
Honourable members, the Governance Advisory Council Bill 2025 has been duly read for the third time and accordingly passed. Yes.
Speaker, may I use the opportunity to thank members for this very important legislation that has just been passed. Speaker, in doing so, may I further pray you that the item on the other paper addendum be presented, Mr. Speaker. No, just addendum. The other paper addendum, not addendum 2. Just addendum. Yes. That's the National Health Insurance.
The application is to present
regulations.
An instrument presided over by Honorable Patrick Yabuama. Oh, it's not a blackmail.
Speaker, let me couple my prayer with the further prayer that this be done on behalf of the substantive minister by the substantive deputy minister for health, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Deputy Minister for Health.
National Health Insurance Procedure for Exemption Regulations 2026.
Honourable members, the instrument has been duly presented and it is referred to the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation, chaired by my good friend Patrick Yao Bwama. Yes, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we'll probably take a short suspension. The Speaker can be called to come. He went back.
Honourable members, the House is temporarily suspended.